Hello everybody and welcome back to more political chatter. In this video we will be talking about my updated prediction between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So this is the most likely matchup for the 2024 general election, don't get me wrong. There are serious primary challengers on both sides. The incumbent president, Joe Biden, from the Democratic Party, is facing opposition from the more progressive wing of the party. Some would argue that RFK Jr. is not a progressive, but he is probably more left wing than Joe Biden, along with Marianne Williamson. On the Republican side, of course, Ron DeSantis just announced his candidacy for president a few days ago. So he will be facing off against Donald Trump. Also, Nikki Haley, Asa Hutchinson, Vivek Ramaswamy, a few others also in the race. Mike Pence to get in the race soon. But at the end of the day, looking at polls, both Joe Biden and Donald Trump are leading heavily, and they are both likely to win. So because of that, I do like to do an election prediction between these two candidates every month. I did one in late April, last month, and I'm doing one in late May now. Other candidates like Joe Biden versus, say, Nikki Haley, or Donald Trump versus RFK Jr. I'm not going to do those every month because those are unlikely matchups, but I will do those occasionally. I might do a few other candidates as I haven't done many predictions and analyses lately. But yeah, I will be catching up on that. But let's start with Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. So, as we always do, let's start off with safe states for Joe Biden. So, these states will be decided by a 15% margin or more. That will be California, Oregon, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New York, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine's first. And I would be comfortable putting Colorado in that safe column. It was not in 2020, but looking at Colorado's trends and why, I definitely think that Colorado is a safe Democratic state for some years to come. Right now, I'm not comfortable putting Illinois, New Jersey, or Connecticut safe yet, but they will, of course, still go to Joe Biden. Now, safe Trump states: Utah, Wyoming, Idaho. Montana would probably stay safe. North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, large, Nebraska's third. Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, West Virginia, Mississippi, Alabama. And that will be it. So that puts Joe Biden at 151, a big lead over Donald Trump. At 107, 270 are needed to win the presidency. So now let's get into some bit closer states. So these states will be likely. They will be decided by a 5 to 15% margin. Let's start with the Democrats. As I said, Illinois, New Jersey, Connecticut, right on the verge of being a 15% margin. However, I don't think that will happen right now. I think these three states will be just under, maybe 13 or 14 points, but not quite that safe margin. Maine at large, I think, will stay likely. I don't think Maine is really trending anywhere, and I think it will be stagnant with how it was in 2020. New Mexico definitely a likely state. Very Democratic state. The Democrats won all three congressional districts here in 2022, so I think Democrats are in good favor here for years to come. Looking at the map, Minnesota will be a likely state. This will not narrow up all that much. A point or two. Biden won it by 7 in 2020. Biden, maybe 5 or 6 points he wins it by. But it probably won't become a lean state. Virginia, definitely a likely state for Biden. Biden could only do better here, really. That's not true. But Trump doesn't really have any chance of winning here. This has become a very partisan state in recent years. And that's going to be it for likely Democratic states. Now let's go into likely Trump states. So Kansas, definitely one right off the bat. Alaska, another one. These are the very Republican states, but not quite safe. South Carolina, there's three, just like for the Democrats, but there's three for Republicans: Alaska, Kansas, and South Carolina. So now let's get into a bit closer one. So Iowa and Ohio both really stayed with Trump. From 2016 to 2020, they shifted to the Democrats a point or two. It was almost no change in the margin for Donald Trump. So I believe it was 9 in Iowa, 8 in Ohio. I think it'll stay. Biden's presidency is not going to help him here. It's not like Biden is some crazy popular president. I think Trump will hang on to Iowa and Ohio. Maine second district. Let's just get that right off the bat. They like outsiders. Joe Biden has not done anything that would allow him to win here. That's definitely still Trump country in Maine's second congressional district. Florida is a trending right state. I mean, there are a lot more Republican voters here than there were 5 years, 10 years ago. I feel that Trump will be able to win it by a likely margin. He won it by 3 in 2020. See, he won it by a point in 2016. He won it by 3 points while the country shifted left, shifted blue. Florida shifted to the right. So Florida is definitely a Republican state for years to come. Trump will continue to do well with Cuban voters, Latino voters. There's no reason why he shouldn't in 2024. Now I feel that he will definitely win the state of Florida. And Joe Biden, and moving on to Texas, I think that this one goes with Trump by a likely margin. He won it by 5.6 in 2020. He will only do better here. Joe Biden's handling of the migrant crisis is not very popular, especially among those who live near the border. I mean, that will certainly not help him. Latino voters definitely turning out for Donald Trump in even higher numbers than they did in 2020 probably. Texas, I don't see why Trump should do worse here. I think that he will only do better in the state of Texas. And that's it for likely states. So that puts for both candidates. So with Texas and Florida alone, that's another 70 electoral votes for Trump. But he's still not in the lead. Joe Biden is at 221 electoral votes. Donald Trump is at 219 and 98 still not called. So now let's move on to lean states. So these states, I believe, will be decided by a 1 to 5% margin. So pretty close. And it could definitely change, for months to come in my predictions. Of course, we'll start with Joe Biden as we always do. Where to start? I guess we can call Nebraska second for Biden. He won it by 6.6 in 2020. I feel that he will be able to hang on in this district, especially with the incumbent representative, Don Bacon, probably not winning re-election in 2024. Where do we go now? Wow, it's getting tough. So New Hampshire, I think, narrows down to a lean margin. Went to Biden by 7 in 2020. But, I mean, I don't know. I just feel that Joe Biden's handling of the economy, in such a state where they probably don't care about culture wars, like in other areas, like in Florida, Texas, wherever, their main focus is going to be the economy. And that's the issue for a lot of states. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, 3 very important states. A big issue will be the economy. And Trump will definitely make the economy an issue when he's campaigning in these states. So that will be a challenge for Biden. It will definitely hurt him. I mean, Trump will compare his economic record to Joe Biden's during their presidency, and that will definitely help Trump, I believe. Michigan, I feel Joe Biden will win by probably about the same margin as he did in 2020. I think people are underestimating Trump right now. I'll just say that right now. And you'll see that in my predictions for the rest of these states. But I really don't feel that Michigan is going to be a likely margin like I used to think it would be. I mean, sure, Trump's candidates did awful in 2022, but that it doesn't directly mean that Trump himself will do horrible. Looking at his power over the Republican Party, I mean, people still stand with Trump. And I mean, independent voters, it's not like they are going to like Trump more after the indictment, after his sexual assault case. It's not like they're going to like him more, but the issue is Joe Biden is not a strong candidate. That's why the Democrats need Marianne Williamson or Kennedy or Bobby Kennedy, because independent voters, as much as they don't like Trump, they really don't like Biden all that much either. And that will be Biden's challenge, is, making sure they don't turn out for Trump, but also having them turn out for him. So I don't feel that Biden will just blow Trump out of the race, out of the water, whatever the expression is. But let's get through the rest of these states. But Michigan, I don't feel Trump will be very powerful in. This one has shifted to the left too since Trump won in 2016. So we're still on lean states for Joe Biden. So, I mean, Arizona probably does go to Biden by a lean margin. It shifts a little bit to the left. This won't be some crazy win. But Arizona is, first of all, trending to the left so much, first of all. But they have shown where they stand on Trump. And especially after the midterms, Democrats should not have done so well here, but they did. So Biden, not even just Biden versus Trump, but Democrats in general are doing much better in Arizona. And I feel that Biden would win it by a lean margin. So he does make that one trend a bit to the left. And that's going to be it for Biden. Now let's get into lean Trump states. North Carolina is one. I feel that Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina by a lean margin. People have this one going to Biden. I just don't see it. As I said, I feel that people are overestimating Joe Biden. As I said before, the midterms do not directly correlate to Trump doing, awful in the presidential. So I think that North Carolina stays with the Republicans. I don't feel that Trump is so unpopular where he's going to lose a Republican state like North Carolina. Plus, his candidate, Ted Budd, did fine here in the Senate election. It's not like Republicans do poorly in North Carolina like they do in Arizona. That's going to be it for lean states for both candidates. So, Biden has extended his lead. He's now at 252, 18 away from winning. Donald Trump is at 235, so he's at 35 away from winning. Now let's get into, okay, so I guess I have the rest of these states being till, which is kind of crazy. Maybe not. Let me think about it. I guess the rest of these states are till. These are so hard to call at this point, but I guess all of these states will be decided by less than a percentage point in my current prediction. Starting with Nevada, the least important, with only 6 electoral votes. I think that Trump flips this one. It can be said that Trump's candidates didn't do well in Nevada, but that's not even true. Joe Lombardo was a proudly Trump-endorsed candidate. He ran his campaign in the gubernatorial election on being endorsed by Trump, and he won. But I feel that Catherine Cortez Masto, the Democrat in the Senate election, who won against the Trump-endorsed Adam Laxalt, I feel that she was just a better candidate in general than, the Democrat in the gubernatorial, because she ran her campaign on abortion. I just do. So, I don't think that Trump's endorsement cost Adam Laxalt that election. I think Cortez Masto was just a very strong candidate. So I feel that this is a pickup opportunity for Donald Trump, and I feel that he will be able to flip this state, and that's the first flip on this map so far. Georgia. Georgia is so tough. I mean, we'll get to Georgia. Wisconsin. I think that Trump flips back Wisconsin. Okay. I'm just going to say it. I think that Trump wins Wisconsin. Because, I mean, again, Democrats who did well here in 2022, aka the governor Tony Evers, they are not the same candidate as Joe Biden. Tony Evers was a much stronger candidate, than Joe Biden. It's not on the presidential level. That plays a big part, when you're the incumbent governor. So I don't feel that, just because Tony Evers did well here and just because the Trump endorsed Tim Michels did poorly here, that Trump is doomed here. And we also have to remember for a lot of these states, especially Wisconsin, because abortion played such a big part in 2022, and simply it won't in 2024. Not as much. Of course it will have some effect, but it's not like it's going to dominate this election like it did, kind of similar to 2022. So Trump isn't doomed in Wisconsin. Biden, of course, has a chance, obviously. But I think that Trump will be able to flip it back. And in Pennsylvania, I think that Biden wins Pennsylvania, and that puts him over the top. Democrats did great here in 2022, but both of these primaries were both of the Republican primaries in the gubernatorial race and the Senate race, they were so centered on the Trump endorsement like no other state. So I think that Trump was so tied into these races here in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania essentially showed that they want to move on. And Donald Trump's big challenge, I feel, is the suburbs for years to come. This has been said before. In 2020, it's really what cost him the election is these suburbs outside of big cities. Pennsylvania, absolutely, so many suburbs. And that will really, really hurt him. I think that will put Joe Biden over the top in Pennsylvania and give him surpass 270 electoral votes. I also feel that Biden would win the state of Georgia by a tilt margin. This is one where, like Pennsylvania, the 2022 midterms, this is a state where you can say, okay, the midterm showed us that this state really doesn't like Trump, and Trump does not do well here. The fact that Republican Brian Kemp won by 7 in the gubernatorial, and the Republican in the Senate election, Herschel Walker, won by -2, aka he lost by 2. Kemp outperformed Walker by 9 points, just because. And Herschel Walker was a proud Trump-endorsed candidate. Brian Kemp was a proud, not Trump-endorsed candidate. So my point is, Georgia voters have definitely made up their mind here. For whatever reason, they are more centered towards the they're part of the more traditional conservative wing. They're not big fans of Trump, Republicans in Georgia. So I think that Joe Biden does win the 2024 presidential election against Donald Trump with 287 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 251. But as you can see, this one is a bit closer than it was in 2020. In 2020, Biden won Wisconsin and Nevada. He had, the numbers are different in some states because of the census, but you get the idea. He won around 303 electoral votes. But I feel that Trump will flip back both Nevada and Wisconsin, and it will be a close election, I think. I think DeSantis versus Biden would be even closer, as DeSantis would win Georgia, and probably Arizona too, but lose Wisconsin, so Biden wins by 2 electoral votes. That's where I have things going right now. But anyway, that's, the topic for a whole nother video. So this is my map for Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. So thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. That would be great. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.